Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So nice to see so many people popping in. We got a good sized crowd today. Lisa, is it snowing where you are?
Yes, it is. Probably not as much as you're getting, but yes, we are getting snow today. Beautiful day in Michigan. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Well, Jake's on winter break today, so he told me he's excited to go build a snowman and do some sledding. So I guess it came on the right day.
It sure did. It sure did. Zach's home and he wants to go snowboarding, so I guess it's a good day to be out.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, we're excited to have you. We're going to give you a couple little housekeeping tips as we go forward. So right in the right-hand side of your screen, you're probably going to notice a orange or reddish orange arrow at the top. That's your go-to webinar panel. And what that allows you to do is access the cheat sheets that our Director of Education, Debbie Fajardo, put in there for you. So if you click on that orange arrow, you will see as you go down, it's called handouts. There are handouts that are attached that are going to give you some cheat sheets along the way. Also, I want to introduce ourselves, and we have a questions panel in there too. So right next to handouts, there is a questions panel, and if you have any questions along the way today, or you need to see something again, feel free to put that in the questions box. When I do my part of the demonstration, Lisa's going to be manning the questions box. When Lisa does her part of the demonstration, I'm going to be manning her questions box. So we'll answer those questions as they come up. But don't hesitate. We look forward to the day where we can be in front of everybody again in our classroom. But since we're still doing a lot of these virtually, we want you to be able to ask questions all along the demonstration today. So let me introduce myself. I've met a few of you on the call. I see some familiar names like Gail and a few others. So I'm Colleen Delange. I am a trainer for my REALTORS and many of the associations. But a little bit about myself is I have also been a licensed realtor for 22 years. So, but I would also like to introduce my very best friend, who's been doing real estate even longer than me, probably taught me most of everything that I know, and that's Lisa Harris. Lisa, say hi to everybody. Tell them a little bit about you.
Good morning, everyone. I've been doing real estate for 32 years and then training with Colleen, which is my favorite part, honestly. And she is an amazing instructor. Don't let her fool you. But we are excited to see everyone here today. And I just looked to double check. Debbie is actually getting ready to put those handouts on. So I just want to let everyone know, if you don't see them, don't worry. She's putting them on, so they'll be on shortly.
Oh, sorry, I thought they were already there.
I just lost you for a second.
All right, so where we're going to start today is we are going to cover being a mobile agent, because obviously in this fast-paced market, we are literally seeing such a low amount of inventory that we've got to be able to write offers from wherever we are, right? We've got to be able to literally write offers while we're standing in the property. So by the time we get back to the office, in many cases, that property is already pending. So Lisa and I are going to take you on a tour of some mobile tools that are going to allow you to do just that. So I'm going to actually share my screen. I'm going to turn off my fuzzy hair that you don't need to see, but again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the questions box. And we are now, you should in about 2 seconds be able to see my phone screen. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to actually share in live. I'm actually just sharing my iPhone. So this is going to be live. I'm going to take you through all these products and tools live so you can see exactly how to use them. Now, some people obviously are using Android phones. Some people are using iPhones. They'll be slightly different on your phone, but all of the basics should be in the same place. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things I like to do is I like to have all of my real estate apps conveniently located in one folder on my phone. I think Lisa actually taught me this. The benefit of actually doing that is that when you have buyers right behind you, you don't want to be fumbling through your screens, right, trying to find all of your real estate apps. You kind of want to have one just folder where everything is inside and you can jump into the app that you need. Things like ShowingTime, Homesnap. If you're using an electronic lockbox, whether it's Master Lock or Connect or Central Key, things like Transaction Desk. Soon we're going to be releasing Paragon Connect. So the idea is to have all of those conveniently located in one folder, so when your buyer's behind you, you don't have to fumble and look around for those. I'm going to just go ahead and open up our Homesnap app, because that's really where we're going to start today. Homesnap is your mobile MLS, and basically what it allows you to do is search for properties, edit your listings from the palm of your hand. So I have this cold listing here, and if I am taking an offer or I'm buying an offer right now and I don't want any more showings and I want to mark it pending, I can now do that from the palm of my hand. You can also walk property lines in real time. I'm going to show you how to do that today as well. And we're going to cover how you can even be in a property. And if the buyer says, well, Colleen, what's this little bit of water in the basement? Showing it to your buyer, they want to know, what's this evidence of water? Did they have a leak? Was it just a sub pump backup? You can actually pull up disclosures and share them with the buyer standing next to you. We're going to cover exactly how to do that. You've not downloaded Homesnap yet, you want to download the app, and when you start the process, after you've downloaded it and you click on it, it's going to say get started. When you click on get started, it's going to ask you, are you a real estate agent? And the reason it's asking you that is there are basically two interfaces, if you will. There is an interface that you can give your client or the public so that they can search. The nice thing is if you give this app to your clients, it's branded to you. So when they pull up in front of a house and they pull out their phone and they're trying to find the price of the house, they're not calling the number on the sign to get the information. They're not seeing the listing agent information. They're only seeing your contact information. So it's a way to make sure that they're only working with you and that everything is branded to you. All right, so I've opened up my Homesnap app. I went through the process of setting it up, saying I am a real estate agent and adding in my credentials. Now I want to start searching. Now, when I first looked at this, I'll be honest, it looked a little confusing to me because we've got all the properties down here. But really, when you're searching, what you're trying to do is you want to work with your map. So I'm actually going to click right into the map, which opens up the map full screen. Now, the interesting thing about when you're searching here is it's searching where you last searched. So it's pulling up, it's kind of caching where you searched previously. But of course, now I want it to be searching where I am and where my friend Gail, who's on this call today too, where she lives very close to me. So I want to click the Near Me button, and that's going to basically use that compass to now show me properties that are for sale near me. Of course, the biggest thing about using any map-based app is just being able to actually zoom in and zoom out. So really, when I want to look at things a little bit if I want to look at things a little more closely, all you're doing, and I'm just going to turn my camera on for one quick second, but all I'm really doing here is I am zooming in and zooming out. And you're just basically moving your fingertips to do so. So if I want to see more information about a property, I'm just zooming in and zooming out. And you're just opening and closing your fingertips right on your phone screen. And that's going to allow you to do that. All right, so if you are looking for a particular area, so let's say you have a buyer calls you and says, hey, I'm looking for a home in Sterling Heights. You're on your phone, you want to be able to quickly look that up. And that's actually where that top bar, I'm going to move my mouse right here so you can kind of see it. This top bar allows you to click in the bar. You can search by city. You can search by an address. You can search by a school building, which I love, by the way. This is the only app I have found that is accurate. When you search in the MLS, for instance, you can search by school district, and that will be there because that's a required field, right? However, most agents don't put in the name of the elementary school or the middle school or the high school. And the reason is it's not a required field, so a lot of agents just leave those blank. So if you searched for Havel Elementary School, maybe you have a buyer who says, my girls have always gone to Havel Elementary School. I want them to continue going to that school. If you were to search in the MLS, you wouldn't actually probably find any homes that were in the Havel Elementary School attendance zone. And the reason is, again, it's not a required field in the MLS for the school building. So what Homesnap said is, well, if the agents aren't filling it out, we're actually going to buy it from a third-party source so that people can put just the school building in. So for instance, if I am searching by Havel Elementary School, I can type that in, click on Havel Elementary School, and I can see the attendance zone that you would have to live in to go to Havel Elementary School. I can also see the homes that are for sale within that elementary school attendance zone. So now if I want to see, well, what is that $250,000 home? I can literally click on it, open it up, and I can start going through that information for that particular listing. So if I wanted to look at this 115 over here, again, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to be able to click into the property, and I can go through the information for that specific listing. So you can search, again, if you click in there, you can search by city, you can search by address, you can search by school building name even, zip code, or MLS number. Now, one of the other cool things that happens here is that you can also, when you're using the map, you can also draw a search. So we know that many buyers today, they're using programs like Zillow or others, and they're literally using their fingertip to draw the area that they're searching in. So I'm going to click on the draw. And again, I can do this as an agent, or you can do this as a client. So again, if you're giving the app to your clients, they're going to be able to do that same thing. So let's go over it again. So literally, I'm just doing it on my phone. I am clicking the draw button. I'm then outlining the area that my client wants to live in just with my fingertip. And I can now save that search. So I can name it after my client. My client could name it, Forest Creek Subdivision Search, whatever they want to call it. And then I can save it. So the idea is it's easier and it's what clients are looking for. I mean, that's why they went to apps like Zillow and Realtor.com and some of the others, because it was simple. I'm having really good luck getting my buyers off of Zillow because a lot of times the information on Zillow is outdated because it's, closed a month ago, and they're calling you and saying, why didn't you send me this house? And you look it up and it says active in Zillow, but it may have closed. So the beauty of using Homesnap is you're actually using the live MLS database. And what that means is if something goes pending, your clients see in 30 seconds that it's gone pending. So it's not that outdated feed situation. And sometimes it's not even, Zillow's fault. The agent will go in, they will claim the listing, and then they mark it pending in the MLS, and it doesn't feed over to Zillow. So that's why the information can be very outdated. Where this, when I explain to my clients and they see it 2 or 3 times, they say, oh yeah, you're right, it did close. When they see that being inaccurate or being delayed information, when you tell them you're going to set them up with the actual tool agents use, the actual back end of the MLS, now it's a little more exciting for them, and they see the information much more, it's much more updated. It's within 15 seconds, like I said, if you mark it pending in the MLS, it's now pending in your Homesnap app. So that's a big change too. All right, turn my fuzzy hair back off. So again, you can name your searches. So just clicking into the map, you can see, again, just to kind of recap, we've got our near me, which actually brings us to where we're sitting. We can draw our search. There's also a commute time option. If you have a client who says, I want to live 15 minutes from where I work, or if I want to live 15 minutes from my mother-in-law, she helps us take care of the kids, whatever it happens to be, you can actually type an address in the commute time, and any property you pull up, it's going to show you if what that commute time is to that property. So if they are really insistent they want to live very close to work, they don't want to drive a lot, especially with gas prices as they are today, this is a really good way for them to actually put in where they want to commute from, and it will make sure that on every house that they pull up, it will tell them what the commute time is from that location. There's also layers that you can add into the map. You can add school information. So when I clicked on layers, you see I selected schools. If I click on any of the little hats or little schools that pop up, if I click into them, it will tell me great information about the schools, again, that they actually purchased from a third party. I can see homes for sale in that attendance zone. I can also see student-teacher ratio is 19:1. I can see school ratings and other schools in that area, along with the contact information for the school. So basically, when you're looking for a particular school building, Homesnap really has done a great job of putting all that information in there so that you can find it quickly and accurately. All right, so some of the other things that you can do is obviously I can see my saved searches that I've done. I've done those with my fingertip. I saved them. I can see properties that I've recently viewed. Those are all listed down below. But one more thing, let's pretend for a moment you're showing buyers around a neighborhood. You pulled up properties to show them yesterday, and the buyer says to you, well, Colleen, do you know if anything new came on the market today? I can say, oh, you know what, let me check. I can actually click on imported searches, and I can see my saved searches that I set up in Paragon. So if I'm showing around Chuck and Julie, for instance, I can say, okay, you know what, let's pull up your search. And what it's actually doing is it's pulling up the search that I set up for them in Paragon. And if they want to see another property, I can simply click on it, and I can bring up all the property details for that specific listing. Once you click into the listing, now here's some cool things. You're going to see things like if there's a virtual tour, you'll see that. If they've done 3D Matterport tours, you'll see those appearing at the top. As you can see, I've requested, I put my address in for commute time, so it's showing me that it would be 5 minutes from where I put my commute address in to where this property is located. If I scroll down just a little bit, now here's where we start our property information. So it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, you know, not much acreage, but 1,750 square feet. If I scroll down a little further, I also have the option to set a safety timer. So let's pretend for a moment you're going to show this property. And in Michigan, unfortunately, it gets dark a little bit quicker right now. And although it's the days are getting a little bit longer. And if I'm going to meet a buyer maybe that I've never met before, maybe I'm feeling a little uneasy, haven't met them, don't know them, I can actually go in and I can say, you know, I'm going to set a safety timer for my emergency contact here. Actually, I'm going to take Judy out just so I don't scare her. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to set an emergency contact ahead of time. I'm going to set my safety timer, and I'm going to set it for 10 minutes. So I go into the home. If I'm feeling like, you know what, everything seems okay, I'm just not 100% sure, I think I'm just going to add 10 more minutes of time as, you know, you're touring the house. However, if I don't turn off the safety timer, it will send a distress alert to my emergency contact. So it doesn't call the police or anything like that, but it does let the emergency contact know where you are, and it alerts them that you may be in distress. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my safety timer so I don't scare anybody. But it's a great way just to make sure everyone knows where you are. So if you're out showing properties to someone you haven't met, it's a great safety tool. We're going to talk about the CMAs in just a couple of moments, but we're going to scroll down a little further, and I'm going to say, okay, property's been on the market for 416 days. It's going to show me who's listed the property. Maybe my client likes it, but we're waiting to have the price go down a little bit because it's been on the market a while. You can also be notified of price changes as well as your client can. Here's another feature that I really like. If you just got to the door and your buyers are behind you and you realize, oh man, there's no keys in the lockbox, I can immediately contact Rachel Goodley, who happens to be the listing agent on this property. I can send a quick message, or I can click her information and immediately see her cell phone number, her email address, and where she works. If I'm going to go ahead and send her an offer when I get back to the office, I could even click that, oh, I'm going to favorite her so she pops up in my favorite agents so that I can quickly send that offer to her when I get back. So if I scroll down a little further, if maybe she's on a team and I want to see other agents on her team, I can right click, it will show me other agents in her office, It will also show me her phone and fax at her office. And if I'm going to drop this offer off, I can even click the arrow that you see there for turn-by-turn directions right to her office to drop it off. If she's part of a team, let's say that she's part of another team, I can go ahead and click on their information and access that as well. Now, the interesting thing, we'll use Dave for a moment here. When you're looking at an agent, now I'm going to be honest, some agents love this and some agents hate it. Usually new agents don't like it so much, but what it does is it also will show you how much production that agent is actually doing. So if I scroll down to Dave Budney, who's a friend of mine, if I scroll down here, it says that he's done in the last 24 months 45 buyer sites. His average sales price is $213,000. I know this is correct. And the reason is when you close a file out in the MLS, you have to give who the buy side agent is. So I know that Dave Budney certainly has closed 45 buy sides. However, if I look over here at the 63 listing sites, not all listings sell. Some expire, some get conditionally canceled for one reason or another. So if I want to see how much production he's actually doing, I can scroll down to where it says recent listing sites. I can click analyze the listing sites, and it's going to do just that. It's going to show me he currently has 4 actives. He's got 8 under contract. He's closed 41, and he had 10 that went off market. Now, I show you this. Of course, every recruiter loves this because they want to know how many deals are getting done, right? However, I show you this too because if you just got an offer, let's say you just received an offer, there's no pre-approval, no seller's disclosure, nothing that really needs to go with an offer. It's a great way to see if this agent might just be new or if this agent is doing a lot of production, something's wrong. So it kind of, will let you know how much of the transaction you're going to carry as well. But you can actually go down even into the actual listings that the agent has closed. This is also really nice if you have closed a deal with someone and you run into them at the Christmas party and you want to quickly remember what deal that was. This is a great way to, and actually Lisa taught me a great trick. I have to give her the credit for it. Whenever Lisa does a deal with someone, and Lisa's been doing this, I think 30 years, I think she said. So she will actually put the address and the agent name in her phone. So when she runs into that agent, let's say Mr. Gordon Ramsay, she can actually see the deal that they closed. So I thought that's a great little tip. So that's right in your phone when you run into them. You can say, oh yeah, we did that deal on 123 Main Street. So it's a really good idea. All right, so we've covered how to contact the agent. That is the listing agent on this property. Of course, you can message the agent right from here, and we'll ask you, do you want to send a normal text message or do you want to send it right through the Homesnap app? I usually just send a normal message. From here, I'm going to bounce back to the listing by clicking on the back arrow. If I'm looking at this house and I think, oh man, this is perfect for my buyer, you'll notice that there are some options right down here at the bottom. I can favorite this listing so that I can, keep an eye on it. If anything changes on this listing, it's going to notify me. I can go ahead and message the agent or message it to all my clients or other agents. So if I want to send this to everyone in my office because I just listed it, I can do that right from here. If I just want to share it to a particular buyer, I also have the share button. I can now go ahead and message this over to my friend Lisa. As you can see, it pulls up a nice picture of the house. I'm going to send that over to Lisa Harris, and now she can actually look at it. Now, if Lisa is a consumer or a client, Lisa's actually going to see it without the confidential information. And let me show you how you know what's actually being displayed on the listing. So every listing, every portion of this listing in Homesnap, when it's talking about the listing details, this is obviously coming over right from the MLS. And if I scroll down, I can see that agents can see this, clients can see this, so people I give the app to, but anyone who downloads the Homesnap app, even if they're not getting it from me, they can see this information too. But as you can see, this next section, it's got the pro label. And what that means is that you, the agent, are going to be able to see this information and the consumer doesn't. And you can see that because it has that Pro listed at the top section. This will give you what the compensation offered is going to be. It'll give you that confidential information that you'll need to know if there's special instructions on showing. But this by far is my favorite part. So, and this agent did a really good job, because especially if there is bylaws or there are rules and regulations for a condo, this is really handy. If you just put those documents within the MLS in the associated documents area, so basically like a seller's disclosure, bylaws, things like that, if you take a moment and actually put them in the MLS, the nice thing is they carry over to Homesnap. So now when I'm showing this property, if the, let's say the homeowner asked me, well, you know what, Colleen, can you have a dog in this condo complex? Our dogs allowed? Because, we've had old Wolver for 20 years. I can literally click on the bylaws. I can find the place that discusses pets or association fees, things like that, and we can review it together right from the palm of my hand. I think this is extremely helpful. Plus, not only can I review it, but I can hit the share button now, and I can share it. Lisa from here. I can share it right to Lisa or the buyer standing next to me. So the whole idea is, if your seller's disclosure, your lead-based paint disclosure, if your, let's say you have bylaws or you have items like that, all of that, if you add that into the MLS, then the great news is agents are going to be able to not only look at it in the home, but they're also going to be able to share it to their buyers. So it's just a great way to make sure that when you're showing the property, you have all the details. I remember, 22 years ago, I would print all the disclosures for every property that I would show. We had this huge, pile at the end that we're throwing away, killing all these extra trees, right? So now you can actually just pull your phone out. You can go over the disclosures with them, and you can even share them to their phone. Now, if it's your own listing, this is kind of cool too. If it's your own listing that you are showing, you can do a Homesnap story. I did one not too long ago, and basically what a Homesnap story is, it allows you to elaborate on your listing, and you can even include your contact information and a short story about your listing. So a good example was, I listed a house in New Baltimore recently, and this home happened to back up to a protected wetland area. Now, when I took pictures of it, it just kind of looked like a swamp with cattails. You couldn't really tell what it was. So I did a quick Homesnap story, and it allows you to use your video camera. And I was able to kind of go back and say, although you can see the cattails at the top, there's actually a little surrounding park. I kind of walked down the little walkway so they could see it. So it gave further information. I wouldn't have been able to do that in the MLS for clients to see, but you can do it on your listing in a Homesnap story. So it's a way to further elaborate. If you have a property that's a little unique, or you need to elaborate a little bit on a picture or explain something, like a nature preserve, something like that, a really great way to be able to do that. We, of course, don't allow you to do that in the unbranded tour of Paragon, because they may be working with an agent, and if you put your contact information in there, they might not use their agent, so it wouldn't be fair, and you wouldn't want to send your clients another agent's information. So in Homesnap, though, you can do that, because remember, it's a third-party app, and you can give a little more information. So we also do have a place, let me clarify, in Paragon for branded tours. So if you do have something that's branded, as long as it's put in the right place, and you can share it through your single property website, you can share it through social media, but obviously you want to make sure that those tours get added to the right field so there's no fines. Okay, so jumping down below, we're going to see even more information, more listing information as far as the room sizes, the measurements, what the flooring is. If I scroll down a little bit further here, I can again see the commute time, but this is one I really like. This is walking the property lines. And a lot of people don't really know what this is, so I'm going to just kind of go over it quickly. If let's say you were doing some new construction, and the buyer asked you, well, Colleen, where does the property line go to? a lot of times we just don't know, to be quite honest. We're looking at the 70 by 120. We're trying to figure out where is that. You can actually take your phone and you can pull it out of your pocket. It will ask you, would you like to walk property lines? And you can actually see the property lines in augmented reality. It's really very cool. Let me see if I stop sharing a moment and make it see it here. If I can kind of change this up a little. You know what, I'll show it after, just to make it a little more efficient. I'll show it after we're done with the Homesnap demonstration. I'll show you exactly how it works. I'm not close enough to the property, unfortunately, to actually do it live with you, but I will show you a 30-second video on exactly how that process works. But basically, you click walk the property lines. You actually can take your phone out of your pocket. It will put arrows on the ground showing you where the property lines start and stop. So it's actually really good. So I'll show you that again. All right, so talking about the mapping, as I mentioned, you can go into the top. You can find searches that you saved in Paragon. You can save searches just using your fingertip. You can see things that you've recently pulled up. Couple other things though, if I go back to homes at the bottom, there is also a filter button. So if I click that filter button, if I'm meeting a new client on the fly and they say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom home, I can go ahead and do a search. So I'm going to say I'm looking for a 3-bedroom home. I'm looking for a 2-bathroom home. I can start adding in criteria and do a search right from the palm of my hand. There are also 3 tabs that you want to pay attention to. For sale is obviously any property that is currently on the market. And of course, you can filter that to maybe you just want to see a house that's sold or something that's under contract. So you can add in those filters. However, there's also the for rent. So if you're looking for a lease, you can click on the for rent. But recently, they also added all homes. I'm going to pick a more populated area than out here in the country, just so you can kind of get an idea. So the all homes is homes that are not currently listed. That will give you right down to the parcels. I'm in Sterling Heights here, and I'm going to, again, use my fingertips to kind of open this up. I'm going to remove the school layer just so it's not so confusing here. So I'm going in and I'm opening my map up so I can see the parcels. Now, again, if they called and they said, you know what, hey, Gail, I know that one of these houses, maybe this house on the corner over here, I know that it's going into foreclosure and I want to be the first to get in. Gail can actually pull up an off-market property or something that hasn't been listed, and I can click on that star and favorite. The minute that goes on the market or status changes on that property, it's going to alert Gail that that property's on the market or something has changed with it. So if I am looking to pick up some listings, and this is really my favorite. So right here we have our parcel map, but they have created something called a likely to list. Now, I'm going to be totally honest, I am not a fan of AVMs. I know a lot of people think they're really cool. They're the Zestimate type AVMs. I'm really not a big fan of those. I always think that they're very off. They don't take into account for the inside of the home most of the time. They don't take into account really for acreage. There's a lot of variables that agent eyes need to see to be able to properly price a home. But what I like about this is not really an AVM. What this is doing is it's actually taking some data, like when they closed on their home, what their mortgage rate was, how likely are they, if they're upside down in the home, they're probably not going to be likely listing that home. So what you can do is you can go into the All Homes map. You can click on the heat map section, and I can say, okay, I want to see homes that are most likely to list because I want to market to them to try to pick them up as new listing prospects. So do I want to see ones that are, maybe I just want to see most likely to list and likely to list. I'm going to scroll down. I can also filter by ownership type. Maybe I want to see people who haven't moved in the last 10 years. So you can do that by ownership type. Mortgage age. So all of those you can add in. And by the way, everything I'm showing you here today, is all included in your membership. There's no upselling on any of this. This is all included in your Homesnap Pro Premium plan through my RealTors. However, if you do see these Pro options, the Pro Plus options, you'll see a little plus next to them. That's something you get when you purchase. They do have an upsell that you can purchase. I'm not a big purchaser of upsells, but I have purchased one thing from Homesnap I really, really did like, and that was on the advertising side. If you have interest, I can show you at the end of the call today. But that one I really did like. I had a problem listing kind of out in the country. I wasn't getting enough eyes on it, and it allowed me to put it on Waze. We had 32,000 views in 30 days, and my buyer told me he saw it on Waze, and that's how he found the property. He actually even used it to navigate right to the property. So it does some cool things there. But anyway, the likely to list, the reason that I am bringing this up, so I'm going to scroll up to the top and I'm going to say I want to see the likely to list. You'll see that it now highlights the likely to list properties. I can click on them, but here's what really gets interesting. So now I obviously want to reach out to this homeowner and I want to see, would they think of possibly selling that home because we have such a low amount of inventory? Well, the good news is you can see that there is actually contact information now included to call some of these homeowners. Now, if the homeowner is on the do not call list, let me see if I can find one of those really quick for you. If they're on the do not call list, it will display that. It'll say do not call list. A lot of times you will find their phone numbers and their email address. And I gotta be honest, I was paying for that information at one point and it wasn't half as good. But as you can see, if I click on Diane's information, here's Diane's email address, her personal and work email address, her mobile number, her home number, and she does appear on the do not call list. So if you are trying to find contact information for a party because you have an interested buyer who might want to purchase their home, this is a great place to start to get that contact information. Again, all you do is you go to the All Homes section, find the particular parcel that you're interested in. You would open up that parcel information and you would scroll down to the homeowner record. And many of those, as you'll see, some of them have obviously multiple homeowners, but it will show you contact information, email addresses, phone numbers, and some of them. Matter of fact, I had a client, I used it as a test, and he had a more updated email in Homesnap than I actually had for him. So I was actually surprised how good some of the records were. So again, you're just clicking into that parcel. Very easy to find that homeowner record if you wanted to reach out to that homeowner and see would they be willing to sell their home. All right, so how Homesnap actually, if you're not familiar with Homesnap, how they actually got their claim to fame about 18 or 19 years ago was homeowners could take a snap, a home snap or a home photo and get information on a property. So I'm not too close to a property, but I'm gonna look out my office window here. There is a house across the street. Homeowners could literally, or buyers could literally take a picture of the home. And what was happening is it really had nothing to do with the photo. What it had to do with was the actual geolocation. And it would say, okay, this is 34674 Cherry Hill. And then it would display the information for that property and the agent could see it. So it was actually very interesting. I just sold this home. So if I click on the contact the owner, I'm wondering, will it have his right? And it does have his right email address. So like I said, they're pretty good. They're pretty accurate. The home snaps really were set up so that agents could communicate with clients and clients to get home information. And that's where they actually got their name. So one of the other things that I thought I would mention is when you're looking at a home, let's say you are showing your clients a home, there is something called the Rapid CMA. And the Rapid CMA is really not a CMA you would do for a seller. I would always want to, I like Cloud CMA a lot. Paragon offers some CMA options too. The Rapid CMA is if you're standing in the kitchen with that buyer and that buyer says, you know, we're thinking about offering $225,000. I know it's listed for $251. Do you think they'd take it? And you want to quickly pull up some comps that you can kind of see what things are selling for on, you know, on that street or in that neighborhood. you can actually go in and see similar listings to that property. So it'll give you a couple to choose from. And it's really just designed to show you on that street, 80 yards from that house, one sold for $256. 260 yards from that house, one sold for $240. So it's really just allowing me to do a really quick mini CMA that I can email right to my buyer standing next to me, so they can see what other houses in that neighborhood actually closed for. So again, I wouldn't really ever do that for a seller, but it's really handy if they're asking you, hey, you think this is a decent price? It's a way to quickly pull up those comps no matter where you're standing. All right, so we covered how to search. We covered how to pull searches in from the MLS. If you go to the agents section, this is also where you can go in and find an agent. So if I am looking for a particular agent, either in my office or even with another MLS, I can actually start typing in, I'm going to use Lisa here. If I'm looking for Lisa's contact information, I can type in Lisa Harris. I can click on her information and immediately be connected to her. So it's a way that you can find an agent. And by the way, about 90% of Michigan is in here with their cell phone number. So when you're looking for contact information, this is a great, I use it all the time to try to find contact information. You can also manage clients and contacts from here. But the most important thing when you're using Homesnap to remember, and I'm going to jump to the bottom Me section here. The most important thing to remember when you're working with a client is you want to give your client the app. And the reason you want to give the app versus them just going to the App Store and downloading it is it's branded to you now. If they just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and get it themselves, they're seeing all the listing agent contact information, which you don't want them to see. You want them working with you. So what you want to do is you want to go to the Me tab at the bottom right, and you want to click Invite. You can invite them by typing in an email address or a phone number. You could share a profile that they could click on and download the app. You could invite right from your contacts even in your phone. Please don't click the invite all though. I have more agents call and tell me, I just clicked invite all, and they send it out to 2,000 people in their phone and half of them are agents. So you don't want to do that, but it is a great way to be able to quickly add clients that you're working with so they start working with you. One of the cool things about that is, remember, it's branded to you, but if you have a Facebook business page set up, one of the very neat things that you can do is you can add your Homesnap app right to your Facebook business page. And I've done this, and I tell people, if you want the app, just go right to my Facebook page. They click on it, they can download it right on their phone from there too. So you have one consistent place where they can always go get it, especially if they get a new phone or something like that. You can also manage your clients from this tab. You can see who you've given a request to if they haven't accepted. You can see who you've invited to use your app. You can see who's recently used the app. You can also see, your client favorites, and all of my clients are then listed under clients and contacts. So very easy to add in. If I want to edit one of my listings, I'm also going to do that at the Me tab. And if I want to edit my Cove Road here, so this is a newer listing, I can go right into edit a listing, and I could change. Maybe I'm here and we just bottom line to offer and I want to mark it pending right away so there's no more showing. I can actually change the status. I can change the list price. If it's pending and, knock on wood, the deal falls through and I want to put it back on the market, I can do that as well. I can change it from pending to an active status. I can put directions in there. I can put agent remarks in there. So keep in mind, you can actually edit your listing right from the palm of your hand now. The advertising that I referenced earlier, I'm not a big upsell person. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of cheap and I usually don't get into the upsells, but I have had 2 listings, as I mentioned, who have sold directly from the advertising. Now, the advertising would be an additional dollar amount. This is something not covered, and it is per listing if you decide to do it. I've had really good success with it. Of course, in this market, I don't use it a lot because things are selling so quickly. But my Wales house may be one that I do actually do this because it's about 15 minutes north of Richmond. Not a lot of traffic on that road. It's kind of set out in the middle of a country setting. It's, you know, got a huge pole barn and stuff, but you can't really see it from the road. So this might be something that I actually would use. The cool thing about if you do subscribe to the advertising is it moves you up in the Google ratings. It, of course, displays your listings, moves you up in Facebook and advertises it on Facebook. But the one I like the most is that it pops up a pin on Waze. So if they're driving down M19 or they're driving by on Highway 69, it's going to pop up a pin that actually allows them to see the home. And as I mentioned, my buyer actually navigated right from Highway 69 right to my Lambs Road property, and they actually purchased it. They found it on the Waze app. So, but the cool thing is it actually sends your homeowner a report every morning of how many eyes came in. I thought was really cool. We had 32,000 views on it in 1 month's time. And every morning it sends them a nice little report with a copy of the ad that was run and how many eyes came in. It also shows you, the agent, when you do the advertising, how many other agents were looking at that property. So it really, it's very neat. So I listed this just a few days ago, and I can see 147 agents have actually clicked on that property to check it out. So, so it does some cool things. But again, you can edit your listing right from here. This is also where you find your public profile. So what the public is going to see, if you want to add a different photo or something like that, you can do that from here. You can also see what your clients save as their favorite. So you can do a whole lot here. Again, if you're interested in the advertising, you can actually click on advertise a listing. Let's see if I can find the one I recently did it on. I can kind of show it to you. See if I can find it fast. Nope. I guess I'll, oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Right in front of me. I just had to wait for it to load. I'm a little impatient. So here's that Lambs property that I mentioned I did the advertising for. When I clicked on the Lambs Road, it's going to kind of show you a copy of the ads that were done. I'll be pretty quick here for you. But again, the big thing for me was not only just that I can see the copies, which is great, but I can see how many eyes came from Waze. So every day, again, this is sent over to the homeowner, a copy of the ad, but my homeowner saw in 30 days, we had 30,232 views, 254 clicks, 11 people actually used Waze to navigate to the property, and 31 people asked questions or I received the lead if they did ask a question. Shows you the landing page. It shows you what the ads look like. So I'm a big fan. It's the only one I really do the upsell on, but I'm a big fan only if you have a problem listing. And I also like on this that you can choose where you want your advertising dollars to go. So if you want more on Waze and less on Facebook, there's kind of a sliding scale. So this is what the ad looked like when they ran it. That's kind of a sliding scale. You get to choose where you want your advertising dollars to go. All right, so I think I covered the me. I think I covered the agents tab, searching. There is some messaging capability too, so you can message if you're doing, I actually use the messaging for when I'm scheduling a home inspection because I think it's very helpful. You have everything, the time and date and everything is sort of tracked there. So with that, Lisa, did I miss anything? I think I touched on most everything. I'm going to stop mirroring here for 1 second. Did I miss anything, Lisa, or was there any questions that maybe we need to go over?
No, it looks like you went over everything, and there's no questions, so you've done great.
Awesome. Okay, I want to show one thing really quick if I can pull it up. I usually have it queued up ahead of time, so I apologize. I wanted to show the walking and property lines. I apologize, I'm not close enough to a property to actually to show it and show you how exactly it works. I thought maybe the easiest thing to do would be to show a real quick video so you can actually see it. Since I'm not at the property and I can't literally walk the property lines with you all, I think we will do is show my screen. Lisa, can you see my screen? Yes?
Sorry, it was muted. Yes, I can see it.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to show you this real quick. It's only about a 30-second video. So you're at the property. You open up the property and go to the property lines. It's going to ask you, can it use your phone's camera? And as you can see, it's actually placing arrows showing you where the beginning and the end of the property lines are. All being done on your phone. So hopefully, I know it's not a perfect way to show it. I wish we were at a property where we could show it a little clearer, but hopefully it gives you a rough idea of what that would look like. All right, so I am going to turn it over to Lisa. Now, Lisa, I'm going to make you a presenter, and Lisa's going to actually take you on a fun ShowingTime tour. She's going to show you how to schedule appointments, use the ShowingTime cards, and how to do a lot of great ShowingTime features. There we go. Lisa made the presenter right from the palm of your hand. Look how pretty Alyssa looks. That's her beautiful daughter who's a senior this year.
Okay. So we are good. Thank you. We are good to go. Okay, so you can see my screen well. Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go through our ShowingTime. So with ShowingTime, I'm going to take you through a couple of different things in here, but when you're looking at your main screen, when you get in here, all your shortcuts to get to the different sections are going to be in the top left of your screen. So you can see those 3 lines. You're going to click on those, and you can see all your options right here. At the very top, you've got a little bell. Those are messages that are being sent to you in regards to either requests that you put in, feedback requested, whatever it might be. But that's where you can find your notifications. If you look back at the top left to go back to those little shortcuts, you're going to always click on those 3 lines in the top left corner. First option is schedule a showing. When you select this, it's actually going to pull your listings up first. You're going to search for that property. You can whether if you put the address in. Colleen, what is your property address that you just listed, the one in Wales?
1871 Cove.
Thank you. I actually used it. I'm not sure if you received an offer from me the other day. I used it for my class for transactions.
I saw that. I was kind of excited for 2 seconds, and then I realized the offer came from you, and I go, oh, she's testing.
Well, that's why I used you, because I was like, oh, when I send this, I don't want them thinking it's a real offer, so I better use hers. So here it is. Perfect. So once you find the property, you want to add your buyers in here. And the reason you do is because it keeps track of what appointments you've set for them or requested for them. In your desktop, when you go to your ShowingTime, you'll see that you can go into your buyers and you can see everything that's been going on with them. Every appointment you've confirmed, canceled, declined, whatever it might be. But it's a great way to keep track of what you showed them, because if you have clients like me, and I've had one that I showed 100 properties to, after a while you start showing the same properties over and over again because you can't keep track of them. So it's really a good thing if you keep track of it. And so if you put your client's information in and you can select them, it will take you to this section here where you can put in your date, your time, how long. If you go down a little bit further, obviously your appointment type, your agency, and then if you have any notes that you'd like to send to the listing agent, your buyer should be linked now to this property, and then how you would like your confirmation to come through. Then you request the appointment, which I'm not going to, obviously, because I don't want her seller getting excited thinking we have a showing. So as you go back, you're going to click on the arrow to the top left corner, and it takes you back. So I'm going to get out of my schedule showing section. So if you go back to your 3 lines in the top left corner again, under your schedule showing is your showing cart. Now, showing carts can be viewed from here, but they have to be created on your desktop, on your laptop. But if I want to go in, for example, for Christina, I had 2 appointments requested. You can see the 2 that I had for her. So showing cart is a great way if you're showing more than one property. If you haven't used it, if we have time in the end, I'll take you through the desktop and show you. But the idea is to find all the properties you're showing them, select them all, and from your action link, you can actually take them into ShowingTime. And then at that point, you can put them in the order you want, select your times, and send a request out once, which goes out to every property. It is a huge time saver. So I will show you afterwards where to find that out. So if you go back to your 3 lines again, under your showing cart, you have showings on my listings. So I don't have any upcoming, all of mine have closed, but I can see my past appointments right in here. You go back to your 3 lines in the top 3, the section over there on the top left. You can go to showings you've requested, and it looks like mine was declined. So I just requested this for tomorrow, and they're doing an open house. So they want us to walk through the open house instead. So this is anything upcoming. If you click at the top left here, you have a past. So if you have something in the past you've requested, it will show you some of your past appointments as well. You go back to the 3 lines top left corner here and go down. Now for your listings, when your listings are in here, you can go back in and modify some of your listing information as far as instructions go by clicking on them from here. And if you go through here, you can actually set up what the settings are for the appointment request, if it's occupied, if it's vacant, who the contacts are and who's receiving confirmations and requests. You can add a new contact right in here. You can put in your notification restrictions as far as time goes. If you want to allow overlapping, if there's any restrictions, they're out of, they're working nights for 1 week and they can't have showings during certain times, I can drop those in here. Your lockbox information and all your notes. So you can make all these changes right from your phone without having to go to your desktop. I'm going to arrow back and go back to my 3 lines at the top here. Under your listings is your contacts. So like I had mentioned before, adding in those contacts and linking them to your showings. So the nice thing is once you have them in here, you can at least see their contact information will be in here. And then you can always modify a little bit of information here, but you don't see everything like you would from your desktop. This is taking a while to load here, so we'll just see if it lets me go back. I did this the other day too. I noticed it froze when I came in here for some reason. Of course, and it doesn't want to load. Bear with me, I'm sorry. I'm going to close this out real quick and reopen it because
that's why we love doing this live, right, Lisa?
I love it live. It's always a wonderful thing. Okay, going back to our 3 lines, same thing with your sellers. When you add your sellers in, your sellers information are in here and well. And again, if I open any of these, I get a little bit of their contact information. If I include an email, usually when I'm adding my buyers to link them to my showing cart, I'm adding their first and last name. And sometimes I have their phone numbers in here as well. You can add email address as well too, so you have more contact information. But this is creating a contact book for you, your address book in ShowingTime. Under your contacts, you have feedback. If I want to see feedback on my listings, I can click on that. And it separates the ones that have not been answered, they haven't filled out their feedback request forms, and the ones that you have received feedback and if you viewed them or not. And when you click on them, you can click on actually the agent themselves and take a look at what the feedback was. And this is where you can send it to your client. So at the very top here, this was published to my homeowners. And when you click on forward feedback, their names will appear. You select who you want to send it to and select forward. It doesn't send any information about the name of the agent. It just sends them what their feedback is. Arrow back, go back again, and we'll go back to our 3 lines at the top here. Feedback on listings that you've shown. So underneath your listings, if I go to listings I've shown, you can see here if there's something incomplete and I haven't filled out my feedback request, it'll be in here. If I've submitted something, it will be on this page. So I can go back through and see what feedback I've given. Back to your 3 lines at the top. And under your feedback, you have your listing activity report. So if you select that, this is for your listings. So if I wanted to go to my rose lawn, and now I can see a summary of everything that's happened in ShowingTime. So you can see how many showings I've had in the last 7 days, in the last 30, total showings. It does this nice little report for them. And if you look at the bottom, I can send this report right to my client. It gives you an option to do your listing worksheet, which actually will allow you to go back to your scheduling information. So if any changes need to be done here, arrow back. If I need to schedule a showing from here, if I need to log a past appointment, maybe an agent called me and I went ahead and just verbally scheduled an appointment for them, I can log their information in here as well. If there's a listing comment or advertising or open house comment I want to place on here, I can do those as well. At the top here, under your property address, you've got your summary report, you have your feedback, so this will separate again, ones that are waiting for response, ones that have been answered. And to the right of that is your activity. So all your showing requests come in through here. So you can see if anything has been confirmed, canceled, declined, and so forth. So all that information shows up in here. Okay, so I'm going to arrow back. And I'm going to go back to my 3 lines. Under your listing activity report, you have market stats, which I will take you back into in a second, but that will take us into market stats, and you can run stats in the area. You can post it to your Facebook or social media. So we'll go over there in a second. Under there is your help. You have contact support. And then you have your name at the very bottom. So if you want to change anything in your preferences, this is where you set them up. So for myself as a listing agent, what are my showing defaults? So I can come in here and set up, do I want in person? So when I am requesting, these will automatically request it the way I have it in here as a default, but I can change it every time I'm making a request. But I like my in person. My default for my listings are appointment always required, but if it's a go and show, then I change it on that listing. Do I want to allow us to schedule overlap for showings? I know some officers are allowing that now. I know during COVID times we weren't, but I know that seems to be opening up now. How many is the maximum of scheduling overlap? So if I have an agent that requests it from 10 to 11, a second one does, do I want to allow a third or fourth agent to request that same time period, or just, cap it at 2? Scroll down a little bit further. Do I want a buffer time in between those appointments? So if I have a 10 to 11, do I need to leave 15 minutes before the next appointment coming through? Do I want to allow my clients to see the showing agents information? And typically I don't, but again, that's up to you. And do I access information, secure access? Typically that's if they have an alarm system. So most of my listings don't, and then individually I'll change it if they do. So if you go back to the top and click your arrow back, now you're showing notifications. That's under your showing defaults. Go ahead and open that one up. And this is how you are notified when there are showing requests. Do you want to be requested, if you want to see them by email, text, call, do you want to push through as far as appointments are requested, canceled, if there's a confirmation, if there's changes to your instructions, or if there's showing instructions that are missing from my listing. Keep arrow back. Under as a buyer's agent, what are my showing preferences? So typically it's my first showing. Again, I'll change it if it's a second showing. How long is my default? So if I want to always request an hour, as soon as I get in there, it automatically sets for an hour, I can. I know some of these listings, especially if they're busy, they're not allowing an hour's time frame, typically 30 minutes. But again, you can set that as a default and change it as you go. What can you access? Can you access a central lock? Superbox, I don't find in Michigan, or maybe in some areas. I'm not sure. Colleen, have you come across a Superbox in Michigan?
Yes, Supra is used by Saginaw.
Okay,
so up in the Saginaw area, they do use Supra.
Okay, so if you have access to Supra, then you want to turn that on. And if you have a HUD key, you want to turn that on. So it just shows them automatically if you can access the property. So arrow back. So under our buyer's agent, under showing preferences, showing notifications, how do you want to be notified when you request a showing? Again, you want to select the items that you want to see. I typically like my text messages and emails to come through, not calls, but again, it's up to you. Arrow back again, offer notifications. So when an offer is sent, do you want to be notified? Now, has this been turned on yet, Colleen? I knew there was something coming eventually that when the offer came through that we would get something, but have you seen this yet?
I saw the demo of it. We have not enabled it for our membership yet. Yes, it is out there. There is a notification that comes with a separate piece of ShowingTime that they're working on, but we have not adopted it as of yet.
Okay, but it is coming hopefully soon. So this will be a great feature. And then if we arrow back again, under your offer notifications is your account. So here's where your contact information comes in play. So if there's something here that needs to be corrected, you can double check your information. And if you go back, login information, you shouldn't have to log in. It's this one is set up. We're still doing it's directly from Paragon once you're logged in, correct? And is it? You know what? We set it up in there, correct? It's been so long since I've done mine. So in Paragon, isn't it under their showing? We have to go under ShowingTime, and that's where they set up their account, correct?
Correct. Okay. And you can push the notification right to your email on your phone and download it that way too. Yes. Perfect.
So you will need a login. It does set up for you. I think it sets up already your username and you set up your password in there. It can be changed also, and it's going to be in Paragon. So we'll have to find that so I can show you where it's at in case you don't have yours set up. but you will need that information to get in. And like mine remembers me, so when I go into my phone, it takes me automatically on each time. Additional preferences, so messages from agents and clients, how you want to receive those. If the MLS or your office sends a message, how would you like to receive those? And do you want only certain hours that you receive those messages or all hours? And then we're going to go back. And then your calendar sync. I love this. This will sync your appointments right onto your calendar on your phone. And I use this all the time. So you can set in how you'd like those appointments to come in. So if there's an appointment on my listing, it will show up on my calendar so I can see. So that way I can go back through and make sure that, you know, they're sending feedback, or I follow up with that agent. And then as a showing agent, I like seeing obviously as well too, because I can remember what appointments are coming up. And then how far back historically do you want to go? You can go back up to a year. So if you want to sync back all your appointments for the past year onto your phone, just select year and hit sync now, and it will drop those all on there for you. So, okay, I'm going to arrow back. And then obviously you can log out. Now in the top right corner of your screen, you'll notice these balloons, your little balloons here on the top. These are conversations back and forth with offices and agents, and, you know, as far as appointments go. So if I click on this property, so I can see here it was, you know, it's confirmed, and then they sent me a message and I sent a message back. So you can see your messages back and forth, and that's just that balloon in the top right corner of your screen. So anytime you've had messages back and forth, whether it's through the agent or an office, you'll see that information here. Okay, and I think we covered everything other than market stats, so let's take a look at those. Oh, and at the very bottom, you do have a showing beacon as well. So just like Colleen showed you in Homesnap, we do have one in here as well. You want to make sure you add your emergency contact in here and their number. And that way, if you are at a property, you're a little concerned, you meet someone who just called you and know nothing about them. So for safety reasons, you can use this as well, and it will notify your emergency contact if you don't stop the showing beacon. Okay, so let's go to market stats real quick here. So if we go back, if you go to your market stats at the bottom, so market stats, you have to hit yes, it's going to take you out of showing time. And here's your market stats. So if you haven't used this, this is a great tool, and I love to post this on social media. So you can put in specifics about either everything in the MLS. You can put in a specific area. You can add multiple areas, and it does these nice little graphs. And it kind of gives everyone a brief overview of what's going on in specific areas, depending what you want to show them. So if I'm going to keep this entire MLS, and if I go through, there's an arrow here on the right. If I want, say, all residential property, and I'll leave all the square footage, leave it as it is, all bedrooms, we're not going to be as specific. And after you go through all of this, if you look at the bottom here, you can see there's a graph. And then under there, it shows a couple different options that you have. So do you want to show new listings? Do you want to show homes for sale, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, month supply, percentage of list price, price per square foot, dollar volume, shows depending, and shows per listing. So these will create different graphs for you. So let's say we want to see what is new listings right now. So you can see that horrible decline in listings, and it's starting to go up again, which is a great thing. We all need this. So if I want to post this, if you look above the graph, you have a share button. You have an option to put a line, or if I want bars, how far back do I want to go? And then how far as far as what each of these bars are showing. Are we going monthly? Are we doing every 3 months, every 6 months, a yearly one? So it's just giving them whatever screenshot you'd like. So let's see. We're going to go back to my line because I think that shows a lot more. If I select share, it's going to ask me, do I want static or live? So static is what I'm seeing right now. If I select live, the problem with this is that it's going to change. So in 2-3 days, someone clicks on this, it might have a completely different view. So if you're posting on this and you're writing something specific about it and you go live, then whatever you wrote about it might actually change at that point. So you want to be careful with that. Do you want just a PDF so you can print it? Do you want it social media and email so you can share it right away? Do you want to embed it, or do you want a CSV? And if I select share, and then it's going to give you URL so you can view this in the window. It's going to take me over. Here it is. And then now I have these icons, and I can go to Facebook. And then I can share my little graph that I just did right here on Facebook. So you can see it shows here new listings, entire MLS. And now I want to type something at the top. You want to grab their attention. So if I just throw this graph out there, they have no idea what they're looking at. So now you want to type in 2 to 3 lines explaining what you're sending out there, and then go ahead and post it. Post it on your page or your business page, or share it on your story, whatever you'd like. So that is your market stats. Again, you can do this in Paragon. If you go directly to Paragon on your desktop, you can go into market stats and do exactly what we just did here. Okay, so is there anything I missed, Colleen? Or any questions? I didn't think anything came through that I saw.
No, I think you did a great job covering it all.
Thank you. So let's go into, since we have a little bit of time, let's go into ShowingTime on your desktop. And let me show you how you can do that showing cart, because I find a lot of agents don't realize they can do this. So I'm going to close this out really quick. Let me close out my reflector.
And if you do have a question while Lisa's transferring over to her desktop, if you do have a question, now is a great time to start typing that in so we can address it.
Yes, please. So we can make sure we cover everything with you. Okay, let me just get into here real quick and show you. So the idea of setting this up is you do want to find the properties you're showing first. So the idea is running a search like you normally would, find those active properties and whatever you're planning on taking your client to see. So I'm just going to pull some properties real quick, and I'm just going to go into my market monitor so I can pull some of the new listings that just came out. And we'll find some all in the same area, so my map's not all over the place. So here we'll hit some in Chesterfield. So we got a few here. In Chesterfield is the same listing. Let's see. Okay, so we'll grab this one. This one. So obviously I'm grabbing active properties. Then you're going to go up once they're check marked, and you want to go to the spreadsheet, check mark whatever ones you're showing. You're going to go up to this action link up here, and you're going to select ShowingTime. Now, this is the same link that you click on to create that Cloud CMA report in your buyer touring cloud. So you're going to go to ShowingTime, and it's going to pull up your contact information. You'll check mark whatever way you want to be notified for your confirmations. And then you can see here in the bottom right, add to showing cart. So I'm going to select add to showing cart. It's going to ask you what day are you doing these showings. So I'll show for tomorrow. Who is your buyer? So if you haven't started adding those buyers in, this is a great time to do it. So as you add in those items into showing cart, you select add new. First and last name is the only thing required. So you'll put in first and last name. I'll put test, so I know it's not a buyer. Select create. It's now selected my buyer here. Once you have them in here, you just select that drop down menu and find your client. And you can actually type them in to find them. Select OK. It's now going to drop in all of those properties you've selected. And you are going to have the properties listed here at the top, but if you scroll down a little bit further, you have this beautiful map. So here's where's a great way to look and see where you're starting off, what order you want to go. If you wanted to set it up for you automatically, right above your map, you have Smart Route. If you select Smart Route, it will actually put them in an order that makes sense. If you don't like this order, you can actually go in and just number these in whatever order you want. So maybe I want to go to that one last, put this one first. Now I'm going to update right above that since I changed the numbers. And I go back to my map, and then I can see the order I have them set up. Then you can look at your times available. So as I look here on the right, you'll notice I've got black sections here that are blacked out for no showings during those times. If there's another showing, it might have a section that's blacked out as well. So I can't get in because there's another showing. So this one sees there's no showings from, it says 8:45 to 9, but it looks like it's an actual appointment possibly. And then these are blacked out for no showings after 9 p.m. So then I can go ahead and select these. Pick a times here. I want to start off, say, at noon to 12:30. Buy a broker, and you'll hit save. Now, the nice thing too is that right under here, it tells me how long it's going to take me to get to that next house. So instead of guessing how much time I need to go from one to the next, I at least know now I have 10 minutes to get there. I'm going to be there between 12 and 12:30, so now I can set up my next one. And do I need to overlap them or not? Well, they're 10 minutes away, so I'll go ahead and start my next one at 12:30, and then keep that one until 1, say, for example. Buyer broker and save, and then I'll do my last one, which is also 10 minutes away. So we'll go ahead and schedule that. So once you have all of your time selected, 30 and buyer broker. Now at the top right, which I'm not going to do, but in the top right, you can send requests, because if I send these out, they think I'm showing them. So we're not going to do that. Send requests, and it sends them out to all 3 of those offices at the same time. It's a wonderful thing, and it'll save you so much time. Now, the other thing you can do in here, once you have these all set up, is I can now create reports, whether I want to email to my client or to myself, or I can print them. And if you print these, which I love my version of it, because once I have these confirmed, I do the agent version. I show my listing image. If I want to show directions or map, I can. But you can see here, each one of my properties are here. And once it's confirmed, it will say confirmed. It will give me a lockbox code, and he's showing instructions, so it's all on the same page. And if I want directions, I've got them here as well, and a map. I like doing the buyer's version for them, so that way they can get the same thing, all the information here. Again, it's not going to give them any information as far as lockbox codes, but it gives them the properties, the order, and directions if I'd like to give them those, and the map. And again, you don't have to print it, you can email.
Lisa, we have one quick question. Is there a way to put a start place and then smart route? Can you show that?
I'm sorry, what was the first part of it?
Is there a way to put a start place in and then do a smart route?
The directions, yes. So for your directions, and let me see where, I think I had to go in. So I would probably add a listing stop. So I'm going to start it in the beginning. So say I'm going, this is actually going to add the listing tour. I'm not sure, can we add our office in there? Because I know we can't add.
Yeah, you can click on that other list.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to say, they're going to start off, say, from the office. So say my office. Say they're going to meet me at my office. We're going to start off at my office. And then
and it's so funny, she just said, how about from your office? So that's perfect.
So now my office address in here. And then city, and then this will be my beginning for them. So when I get to my map part of it, that add stop. Okay, so that added there. So now you want to make sure you put in the correct order. So if I'm using this office as my first one, we're going to go ahead and put number 1 on there, and then move all these down because that's where we're starting off. 3 and 4. So I'm going to update those. So now when I go to print this, we should have my office location first, and then it's going to give the ones after. And you can go from their house first, add another stop, go from their house to your office, and so forth. So you can add as many as you want on here. Is there any other questions at this point?
Any other questions? Here's your opportunity.
And the market stats, if you're looking for that, if you want to go to market stats from your computer, instead of going from your mobile, you can find those under your resources. So under resources in this middle section, we have social media and we have market stats. So it does the exact same thing that we saw earlier, where you can go in and set up your stats. You can also go to market stats from a property. So if I have a listing and I want to show things that are going on in that area, I can go directly from the listing itself. You actually have, you've got these little shortcuts that will show you different things in here, but you actually have one for market stats. It looks like a little graph. So if you hover over that, it should say market stats on it once you touch it. And then that will also take you into market stats as well. And these fast stats are, these are wonderful. I use these all the time. I actually upload the fast stats into my Cloud CMA, and I use those reports in Cloud when I'm doing my CMA reports. Okay. Did I miss anything, Colleen, or?
No, I think you covered it all in detail, and looks like there is no more questions. I think you did a great job, Lisa.
Thank you. So did you.
We're a good team.
Yes. Yes, we are. Love working with you. So, well, if there's anything else we can help you with, always tech support's always available to help. So please call that.
And she did download all those handouts for you too. So if you open up the GoToWebinar panel, you go down to handouts, there's the cheat sheets. You do have to click on them and then save them to your computer, because after the webinar obviously is over, the panel will go away. So you do have to click on them and then save them to your computer so that you have them for future. You can also find those in Lisa can probably actually show it, she's got it up on her screen, but in Paragon, where the MLS documents are, we keep all of the cheat sheets that you can reference at any time.
Yep, they're under education in your MLS folder, and there's 81 of them. And Debbie does a great job of getting these updated, and she has them in alphabetical order. Easiest way is in the search button. If you need help with Homesnap, just put Homesnap in here, because that's going to be the fastest way to find all of them. There's quite a few. So, and then you can download these beautiful PDF reports. Colleen's done some great handouts. Screenshots are included. Very easy to follow.
Lisa did a great job. Lisa, I think you wrote more than half of those. So I know I use them and people really like them. They're easy to email out and just makes it that much easier. So, and in addition to that, don't forget, we recorded this class. It will be on our YouTube channel. We hit our 1,000 subscribers, Lisa. I don't know if I told you, but we did hit, we're like 1,100 now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so if you go to YouTube and you type in My Real Source Media, our channel will pop up, and actually this class, along with all the other classes that we teach, with the exception, I think, of Roadmap and the new Agent Welcome and Photos. Everything else is recorded there, and you can watch them 24 hours a day. You can kind of fast forward to the part, so if you missed anything on this call, or if you joined, a couple people joined in a little bit later, you can fast forward right to the part, or watch the beginning if you missed that part. So I think that is just a helpful resource. I know as an agent, I like to be able to have something to go back and review when I'm doing something a month later. So that's a great way to do it. Just go right to our YouTube channel. If you still have additional questions after this class, or you watched it again and you have a new question, we do offer complimentary one-on-one trainings. If you go to our Facebook page, you can actually, if you go to Facebook and you type in My Real Source, we actually, on the left-hand side, we offer all of the classes or all the class topics, and you can actually request a one-on-one with someone like Lisa or myself or any of our trainers. We ask that you book it 3 days out just to make sure that there's no scheduling conflicts, but then a lot of times we'll just Zoom and we'll actually take a look at your screen, see what issues you're having, or if you have just some general questions about a specific niche you might specialize in. We know that unfortunately we can't be in front of everybody in our classroom like normal, but hopefully we will be soon. We want to make sure that you have all the resources that you need. So the complimentary one-on-ones are 30 minutes. They are free. And again, if you're struggling with something, or there's just maybe something you think there's a faster, easier way to do it, you can go right to our Facebook page and schedule one of those up, and then we'll walk you through it. All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for hosting with me today. This is fun. I love when we get to do it together.
Oh, I know. Me too. Me too. It's great seeing you as always.
It's great. How's your kitchen? Lisa just remodeled her kitchen. Are they working on the backsplash yet?
No, not yet. I'm trying to find one to replace it. It's always fun when you get all that work done and then they have to bust it all out and redo it. It's a wonderful thing.
I would be heartbroken. Well, I'm thinking of you also, but I can't wait to celebrate your new kitchen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us. Hopefully we will see you in a classroom soon. Everyone have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Lisa. Have a great day. Happy selling, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.